This part's really fun to see.
Hello and welcome to the 2023 Western Ultimate League Championship Weekend presented by Discraft Ultimate. My name is Chena Tidgum. I'm going to be one of your commentators tonight, and I'm joined by
Manisha Doriani. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you all today for the first of two semifinals here in sunny Seattle.
Very sunny, not too much wind. We'll keep an eye on the conditions, but should be a great afternoon and evening for Ultimate. We got two teams here tonight. The Utah Wild and San Diego Superbloom. They actually have not played each other yet this season, so this should be a very exciting matchup. So Manisha, tell us a little bit, how did the two teams get here?
So again, these are two divisions, either the top two finalists in either division. We have our Southwest Conference finalist or top finalist, which is San Diego Superbloom, who is the 1 seed coming out of the Southwest. And then we have the 2 seed out of the Northwest Conference, that's the Utah Wild, coming in with a 4-4 record. And as Chena pointed out, these two teams have not yet played each other this year. So this is a first impression for both teams. Both teams having coming in with 8 games under their belt, both playing in and out of conference. But again, one of the matchups that just simply didn't happen yet. So it's an exciting opportunity to see two teams duke it out today for a spot in the finals.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about the players to watch and we'll start with the Utah Wild, Paige Kircher.
An absolute dime ball of a thrower. Paige is such a joy to watch. Really, I think finished top in throwing yards this season. Really, when Paige has the disc in her hand, you have to know that it's going for the end zone. That's what she's looking for every single time.
Smooth release and a really, really nice distributor. We're going to talk a lot about her sort of throwing yards and receiving yards, and the numbers that you see on the screen in terms of goal and assists might seem low, but that's because she's more of your hockey assist type player. She's the one distributing the disc and making sure that the disc even gets close to the end zone.
You know, it's funny you say it might seem low, but let's just talk about how astounding it is to see these stats. But let's not forget, we also have to talk about San Diego Superbloom, the 1 seed coming out of the Southwest Conference, and the player to watch, Kayla Helton.
Kayla Helton has been making plays in this league since it began. You're seeing just a few of her highlights here, but really this highlight package could go for multiple minutes.
And the thing about Kayla is she's a danger both ways, both offensively and defensively. She is someone who finds herself in the end zone constantly, but more importantly is just an incredible threat to anyone that she is trying to shut down defensively. Her MO is to get the block and then run for the end zone. That's what we're going to expect to see today, and I certainly see that if she wants to add to that goal and assist tally, I think this is the time to do it.
Yeah, we're going to be saying her name a lot tonight. I really believe it.
It's probably true. So again, y'all, welcome. Thank you for being here. This is the WUL. This is a 80 by 40 yard field with 20 yard end zones. We play 4 12-minute quarters, and we play with a clock. And more importantly, for the last 2 minutes of that quarter, we stop the clock whenever the disc goes out of bounds or if there's some sort of call that happens. Now, here's the most unique part about the WUL is that when the quarter ends, play will continue until a possession either results in a score or results in a turnover. It leads to just high intensity moments at the end of the game about who can keep possession or get that turnover. But let's be clear, the teams each have 2 timeouts. These timeouts have been used ruthlessly by these coaches in particular in order to get in the line that they want, because you can sub full teams on a timeout.
In addition to that, also the stall count drops to 0 during timeouts as well. So you'll see that come into play if there's a high stall situation. Coaches are very well versed in calling that timeout.
Absolutely, and again, as Chena mentioned, the stall in this game is 7 seconds. Now, this is a self-observed game, but we do have observers. We will be noting 4 observers, an all-female and non-binary observing crew for the entirety of this weekend, in addition to an all-female broadcast staff. So, listen, we're so glad you're here. We're excited for Game 1. Let's see you soon.
We'll be right back.
July from Nottingham, England, the World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ultiworld.com.
Hello and welcome back to the 2023 Western Ultimate League Championship Weekend, presented by Discraft Ultimate. This is Chena Tidcombe. I'm joined by
Manisha Dariani, and it's our pleasure to welcome you to semifinal 1 against San Diego Super Bloom versus Utah Wild.
We're about to get underway here in Seattle, but before we do that, we just want to introduce ourselves very quickly before we talk more about the players on the field and what's happening here this weekend. So my name is Chena. I am one of the co-owners of the Seattle Tempest and previously played in the league last year. And Manisha, do you want to give a little bit about you?
All I have to tell you right now is Chena is the perfect person to be introducing this game, and I think our first pull is about to get started.
We'll get the first opportunity to see the San Diego offense. Short pull by the Utah Wild, intentionally putting San Diego right on that sideline. Jones picking up immediate around, looking for Iwamoto, an unfortunate miscommunication as Iwamoto had gone upfield already.
With so much footage, you can imagine Utah has been strategizing against what they will be pulling against San Diego Super Bloom.
Miller over to Atwell. Floaty disc, but secured by Terpstra, excuse me. Aragon up to Robbins.
Just outside the end zone.
Nice patience here from Utah. Wallen. Miller.
I don't think that was who they were expecting to throw to.
I agree. I think they were looking for Robbins. Miller. And a very nicely timed block there from Jones.
I can imagine San Diego is going to be doing a lot of goal line stands here, and that is what distinguishes them for the rest of the pack.
We have really nice block there. Jones threw the turn, but got the disc back for their team. Throw popped up, looking for Diaz, and Helton is able to secure the grab. Really big huck just outside the end zone. That's Juan.
About 2 yards out.
Back to Diaz. And back to Juan. Really nice give-go action from San Diego for their opening point. That's a hold.
Again, all of which saved by Helton, who we highlighted at the beginning of this game. Kayla is going to be the glue that holds this team together, and that point would have been a turnover had it not been for that incredible layout by Kayla, and then just smart, patient offense on the end zone line.
Yeah, Helton digging some turf out of their elbows as we speak, but if I had to guess, she'll probably just stay on the line and try to get a defensive block for San Diego in the second point here.
I'm not necessarily sure. I think San Diego knows that they have a deep roster, and watching this replay right now, again, just going over Diaz's hands, Kayla with the layout, immediate pickup, looking downfield, finds, who is that downfield? Jessica Juan, who then smartly puts it back to Diaz and then just gets a little give-go. Really nice play, very smart, and nice way to use your offense.
Utah is going to be thinking about that point later on as they got the disc on the very first point of the game.
On the goal line.
On the goal line, nonetheless. Songer up to Kircher. Isolating Caldwell. Back to Songer. Bingham. Caldwell. Thought about the deep look. Songer was going.
Interesting to see Elamelik, but kind of poaching in the lane right now.
Kircher. Staller. Bingham. Really nice tempo, I'd say, here from Utah. They're content to swing the disc around and find moments to attack.
Nice toe the line. That's a great towing of the line.
Looks like it's called out of bounds by the observer. Songer trying to hit Brooke Stanislawski in that very far corner.
I think I had best perspective up here, if you ask me. Now again, we have 4 observers for today's game, so each one in each corner. These line calls we recognize so important, but just couldn't keep the disc in bounds. San Diego now with a chance for another break.
Pajunas looking for Helton.
Looks like there's a call on the field. Pajunas trying to break around, trying to hit Kayla Helton on the break side, but a little bit behind Helton. I believe Hilton retracted the call.
Yeah, and Bingham with a nice block there, a really important one too, because it's so close to their end zone, they can run an end zone set immediately. Songer picking up to Kircher.
So their third opportunity to score. Let's see if they can convert.
Stanislawski. Back to Kircher. Bingham. Thought about finding Songer, but instead goes to Atwell. Excuse me, Caldwell.
At this point, Utah has actually just gotten back to where they got the disc on the turn. Lost a lot of yards, seeming really content with the singing, but finds it, finally finds it.
Songer with a really nice touch throw there to Stoller for Utah's first point of the game. That's a hold for Utah.
It is. Right now, San Diego's still up with one break. Now we're going to definitely see San Diego put their O-line back on. Certainly accomplished throwers on that line, and see what Utah can do to stop San Diego.
A little bit hard to see, but it looks like Stanislawski's toe was on the line on that replay. And we get another look here at that throw. Bingham with a nice block, really good positioning. And here's finally the throw that ended up with the point.
You know, to Utah's credit, I think this is what's going to be the difference maker. Their ability to remain patient in the end zone. When they try and jam that disc in, I do think we're going to see turnovers. If they can patiently wait, find the right moment, they will find a way to score.
Yeah, just, you know, sitting up here in the booth before the game, watching both teams warm up was really interesting. Utah did seem to have a bunch of trouble in their end zone reps, and something that I flagged to Manisha here, you know, just saying, hey, wow, they're not converting a ton of these warm-up reps.
You got to get them out early. That's what I say.
And we had a little bit of a disagreement. I said, it's nice to have some confidence going into the game with some good, solid warm-up reps.
Again, we see Utah Wild pulling the disc out of bounds, but in this case now, San Diego getting to start the disc in the middle of the field because the disc did not land inbounds first.
Jones to Ellis. Now Savachon with the disc. Jones. Quick movement from San Diego.
Great D.
Looking for Messner. We'll probably be saying their name a lot because they score goals a lot. But really nice block there from Kendra Miller to give Utah an opportunity here for the break.
Now Utah with a chance to get the disc back, put the disc game back on serve. A little too far ahead. Another turnover. Heads up play by San Diego.
Yeah, Kruzhnikova there looking for Hunter. Jones to Ellis. Again to Jones. Salvation. Really nice body to keep the defender out of the play. Jones and a round backhand. Another miscommunication for the San Diego O-line.
I'm not quite sure what San Diego wanted to do there. It seems to me that San Diego does really want to attack the break side, but with no cutter there, you're right. Unfortunate throw to no one.
Aragon with the disc. Really key player for this Utah D-line. Over to Hunter.
What a great D by Diaz.
Wow, phenomenal.
Giving San Diego another chance to get a hold. Let's be clear, this is a hold for San Diego.
Iwamoto picking up the disc.
Hammer to the break side.
Looking at, I think initially to Diaz, and then simply said, nah, I'll throw a hammer to Zettner instead.
I mean, wide open. Why could you not?
So really interesting. Both teams have had offensive points already, and both teams have turned it. There has not been a clean hold yet.
I mean, the pressure's high. This is semifinals, and both teams are really visitors to Seattle right now. And so you can imagine this is early nerves, but I truly believe we're going to see them settle down. Just a slight overthrow here. Again, just heads up, making sure the disc is down, and then this great layout by Diaz, clean as well. That's an important part of the WL. We spent so much time talking about making sure that plays are not dangerous. You could see that the angle that Diaz took was perfect. And, yep, nice awareness for that hammer. Again, just to no one makes it an easy throw.
Yeah, Zettner, they're, with bookends. They'd gotten the first block, actually. So really cool to see them rewarded with the goal. Utah on offense here.
It's a high stall count.
Bingham up to Perquette. Slightly different look here for the Utah O-line. Some different personnel. Stanislawski pumps Perquette. Nice adjustment on the cut from Perquette. Back to Stanislawski.
Utah really loving this up line, give-go motion.
Terpstra over to Bingham. Looks at Kircher, finds her in the middle. Looking for the around, a little bit of contact on the mark. Nice shape on that forehand throw from Kircher, finding Stanislawski. Looks like there's a pick call in the end zone.
Now we'll see our first opportunity to see the pre-stall. Again, pre-stall, a unique facet of the WL rule set where players will be allowed to move before the thrower can throw the disc. Violation has been called. As you can see, as the thrower, you're not actually allowed to fake while you're waiting for the pre-stall to go.
I kind of love that that moment happened because it allowed us to talk about it here on the broadcast. But nonetheless, we're getting started here. Stanislawski.
Just outside the doorstep.
Great around throw to Kircher. Stanislawski again, this time finding Corey Bingham in the back of the end zone for a Utah hold.
Good usage of the width of the field. I mean, Utah started just on the goal line, trap side, moved break throw, and then just found a nice, easy, open receiver in the back of the end zone. Very nice offense.
And I have a little soft spot here for finding receivers in the back of the end zone. So it was just as Manisha was saying, kind of see the break. But there's so much space in the back of the end zone. I feel like oftentimes players are poaching so much front cone and trying to protect the front cone. But there's 20 yards in the end zone, and the back 10 yards are just so underutilized.
I agree, and the only way you get there is the break throw.
So clean hold there for Utah, the first clean hold we've seen as these two teams, I'd say, really settle into this game.
Absolutely. We have about 4 minutes, 18 seconds left in this first quarter. Again, we're seeing Utah Wild utilize that pull, trap San Diego on the sideline strategy.
I mean, they got a turn on the very first point, so I like the look.
Let's see if it can pay off again. That's the question. Now, it really gives about 30 yards of offense for...
Wow, no look left-handed throw from Iwamoto to Ellis. Elimelech looking for Diaz. It's a great player to hit in the end zone. A little bit of contact there from Wallen, who was coming in to try to make a block.
Looks like it's not contested again. You can see the players utilizing hand signals to signal to the observers that there will be no contest on this call. That means Diaz will start with the disc on the end zone line.
You know, I appreciate that Wallen was trying to get in position, but a little bit too much contact there.
Diaz with the cheeky throw.
Jessica Wan there with the nice cut to provide a really easy option there for Diaz.
Just so you know, that's Wan's second goal and Diaz's second assist, and I'm pretty sure that was the combination we saw last time as well.
Yeah, some nice give-and-go action in small spaces between the two of them. Really nice movement for San Diego hold. Again, a no-turn hold.
So that means with about 3 minutes and 19 seconds left in this first quarter, the question for Utah will be, can they get a hold? And more importantly, can they get the all-important break?
We'll get another chance here to see the Iwamoto lefty no-look throw. It's a little hard to see in the replay, but I'm pretty sure her eyes were looking upfield when she threw to Ellis. I mean, that's chemistry.
This is true. And again, you can see the contact, and you can see why number 16 decided to withdraw any sort of challenge to that call.
And something I think that's worth noting about the San Diego roster is that they have a lot of experience playing together. And I think that they have the benefit of, all being in the San Diego area. Now, the Utah Wild, they have players from a number of different locations, so they're not always practicing together all the time. There's sort of pockets of players that play together. And so chemistry is, I think, going to shine a lot for San Diego in this matchup. Perquette. Caldwell. Fine Songer. Stanislawski. Perquette again. Eating up a lot of yards. Really nice fake.
Pick was called. And Sheena, I think you're correct. Utah Wild obviously is bringing in players from a larger geographical region. That is for sure. But don't get me wrong, this team practices hard and they know why they're here, and they're here to do an upset. Unfortunate drop.
Yeah, you know, that really was in the hands of Perquette. Unfortunate there. Maybe coming in a little hot.
Again, we see another pick call. Obviously in the transition, San Diego wanting to move the tempo, wanting to make the disc, move the disc really fast, keep Utah on its heels. Some discussion on the field right now in terms of placement for the pick call, it appears.
We've got Abrams with the disc right now, trying to figure out. I think there's just some discussion on the Utah players who's guarding who.
Absolutely. I think the call was between Cogborn, who was allowed to catch up at this point. And so now other players are basically trying to get a sense of who they're picking up. Because, again, this is the pre-stall.
Abrams to Helton. Looking for Jones.
And we hear our first timeout call.
Nice around throw there to Ishii. And ultimately they just drop the disc.
Well, we have the timeout call again. This is what San Diego does very well. Coach Angela Wells has really taken the rule set and decided to adopt it as her own. And know when you're on the doorstep and you had your D-line in, this is the perfect opportunity to switch in your offensive line. Make sure you secure your second break. Really smart call by Angela Wells. Again, you're at the end of the first quarter. You know you only have 2 per quarter, but in a game that is currently 3-2, I see why she did it.
Yeah, first opportunity here for San Diego to get a break. And something just quickly to note is that there is a little bit of wind, I would say. So the San Diego Super Bloom is attacking sort of this upwind end zone. And if you haven't played in this stadium before, I would say it is a bit blustery. Discs tend to pop up a little bit, and they tend to kind of get caught in this pocket of air that's almost 15 to 20 feet up, you know, above ground.
Talking like you've played here before, Gina.
I've played here a lot. I've also watched a lot of games here, and you know, I think it can be sort of surprising to players if you haven't played in this space before. Both these teams actually have played here before, although San Diego hasn't played here this year. The last time they played was last year here in the stadium in Seattle.
Again, it's wild to think that we are in the second year of the WUL, and we are here for championship weekend. What a journey it's been, and again, we're here, Utah Wild taking on San Diego Super Bloom. First semifinal of 2 today. San Diego Super Bloom with the disc.
Jones has the disc, and you know, initially I didn't see Ishii as the reset, and so I thought they only had Kayla, but they just are giving themselves a lot of space there. Jones, Pajunas, back to Jones. Helton.
Almost like a zony defense.
Looked like a zone defense, but nonetheless, San Diego does a really nice job of carving up space, and they have the first break of this game.
Second break. Again, that is Pajunas with the score, Kayla Helton with the assist. Really nice distribution from assists and goals coming from this San Diego roster, but more importantly, just smart, patient offense, finding the right holes. You can see it here, Pajunas handing the disc off, now giving it to Kayla Helton. Kayla Helton looking, faking back to the middle of the field. Pajunas just finding that little pocket between the 2 lines, and easy score for Pajunas.
You know, something that I was thinking a little bit about, you know, coming into this game, you know, I really think of Utah Wild as being a team that has a really pure offensive line. They have a line of folks that is so offensively focused when they're playing Ultimate out there. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful way to see the game played. And when I think of San Diego, I think of them as being a really gritty defensive team. And so what a cool opportunity for us as fans to watch sort of these 2 powerhouses in 2 very different ways get to compete.
And to your point, now we see San Diego coming down what appears to be a junkie zone, almost looks like a 3-3-1. But on the sideline, you could hear they were counting it down. Utah WUL with an unfortunate early turn, giving San Diego the disc about 15 yards out.
Terpstra looking for Kircher. Kircher can't hang on. Jones picking up another opportunity here for San Diego. Pajunas, bullet of an inside shot to Jones. Back to Pajunas, going every other here, it seems like. Elimelech back to Jones. This is the very well-known San Diego give and go. Salvation not quite in bounds and finds a really nice inside pocket there.
There was no pocket, it was a sliver.
That's WUL with the goal. All of a sudden, 2 breaks in a row, San Diego.
Still 43 seconds left in this first quarter. You're going to see that O-line of Utah coming back out, but yeah, at this point I agree. San Diego's going to start giving you different defensive looks, kind of keep you on your toes. Let's see how Utah can respond.
Yeah, I really like that the San Diego Super Bloom had a person match point and then went into zone, and then I'm really curious to see here what they come down in. Now, Manisha, you're coach. You've coached for a really long time. What do you think here about Utah Wild not taking a timeout and sort of the old adage of you get broken twice, you take a timeout?
No, not in this game. This game, again, because you have a clock, just the functionality and the pace of it is so different. You take timeouts in this game, certainly if you wanted to make sure you get your O-line back out there, but they're not tired. This is just unfortunate turnovers for them. Make them stay out there, work through it.
And that's, exactly what they're doing, so they know more than I do out there, that's for sure. Bingham.
Nice fake.
High release forehand to Perquette, does a nice job securing it there. Iwamoto was hunting for a block. Kircher to Bingham, back to Kircher. Utah not gaining a ton of yards here, but I think they actually are doing a good job of keeping the disc in the middle of the field. Like they're not getting themselves stuck on the sideline.
Just a drop by Cogburn, unfortunate. To your point, I mean, what they're looking for is an opportunity to get a deep look, and it looks like Cogburn is coming off the field because it's the end of the first.
That was the last possession there. So if you're San Diego, you have to be pretty happy with that. You stopped the Utah Wild from scoring that very last possession.
And again, those in many ways become the difference maker in a lot of these games is the team that has possession at the end of the quarter. When they can't convert, it almost becomes like a double break because as we're coming into the second quarter, it's going to be Wild on offense, San Diego on defense.
Yeah, and I think that's something that the players are still getting used to a little bit, kind of understanding that end of quarter clock management, how important it is to possess until the clock hits 0, and then of course how important it is to score.
Well, this was our exciting first quarter, 5-2 San Diego Super Bloom up. You can see Coach Angela Wells urging her team on for the next quarter. We'll see you soon.
Hello and welcome back. This is Chena Titcomb. I'm joined by
Manisha Daryani. Welcome you back to the second quarter of the first of 2 semifinals for the WUL Championship Weekend, brought to you by Discraft.
We've got the Utah Wild in white playing against San Diego Super Bloom in black. It's a tight game so far, but San Diego is up a few breaks. It is 5-2 San Diego. 2
breaks for San Diego in that first quarter. But again, this is still an early part of this game. A lot can happen and tides can turn. So Utah Wild now getting to start on offense, getting a chance to put their O-line back out there, just work through those jitters that appear to be happening in some of these miscues. But as Gina pointed out in that first quarter, we saw Utah really being content with sort of these lateral passes, not a lot of depth. Utah Wild's strength is their deep throws. I would love to see more of that in this second quarter.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I think Utah is really well known at this point for their deep throws and their away passes, and we haven't really seen them be able to hit them quite yet. So we'll see if they'll start in the second quarter to really air it out a little bit more, see if they can get that part of their game, on the field here.
Yeah, and again, in this stadium, as Gina pointed out, a little tricky with the wind in this stadium. So again, for a team like Utah, needing a couple quarters perhaps to figure it out, but truly, I suspect we're going to see some bombs.
Burkett finds Caldwell. Nice around there to Stoller. Terpstra was open, but instead finds Caldwell again in a great, clean block there from San Diego.
That is Rutland with a great layout D. Again, so clean. Unfortunately, I mean, like, Wild had to see that was almost baited.
And Rutland, is really well known for those plays. I feel like I've seen them make that play a million times, but you love seeing that on this stage in championship weekend.
Oh, almost gets it back, but looks like there's a foul call. Rutland making the foul call on the run through D. So we'll see if it goes to the observer, if the two players can actually work it out. Again, because this is a self-officiated game, the players are allowed to be able to walk through the play itself before going to an observer.
Yeah, and it looks like Caldwell here is the player that was involved. We'll see it. It's on the left of your screen here, kind of coming in. It's a little bit on the backside, a little bit on that back shoulder.
Observer appears to have ruled that it was a clean D, so that means Caldwell gets credited with that D. And the reason I say credited is, y'all, our stats team, who've been giving you that incredible website, are here on site today doing live stats right now with us.
Super fun to have that amount of analytics and detail.
It's
Wild.
incredible.
Yeah. It hasn't happened for this division of players before, so it's super fun. Stanislawski up to Terpstra.
Again, Wild is looking for the hold.
Terpstra, I believe, let go of the disc. Kayla Helton blocked it, and then Terpstra caught it again.
I don't think Kayla gets credit for that, D.
I don't think she does either, but that's impressive, both impressive defensively, but then also impressive offensively to have had the concentration to catch the blocked throw.
So you can see Utah Wild looking for those deep looks. You can see every time they're just holding.
Stoller looking for Burkett. Nice defense there by Ellis. Just gets a paw in the pass to break it up. Ellis with a disc.
Already a pretty long point into this first point of the second quarter. We see Kayla Helton, of course, striking deep.
Two defenders in the area, but she's able to get in between them.
Eyes a little too big for Kayla Helton. You can see both players apologizing to each other. Kayla looking for Pajunas in the end zone, just too far, giving Utah the disc back. Again, still, this started with Utah on offense. This is a chance for Utah to hold.
Stanislawski with a disc. Over to Burkett. And San Diego is actually doing a really nice job of playing help defense on away passes and sort of switching in the backfield. I think that's why we've seen fewer of those.
There's the deep look. And yet Pajunas is in the area.
Wow.
It's very hard to get a score past Pajunas. Really lethal in the air, great at reading discs, understanding how to use her body. And while this was a great throw, you look at from the beginning, this looks like a great throw. Pajunas gets great position and a clean break. D in this space. Great block.
Yeah, Williams did their best there to hold positioning, but ultimately Pajunas was just able to go over the top. Helton up to Rutland.
Now just using the foreside.
Pajunas, big flick, looking for Ellie Mellick.
Easy goal.
Really nice movement there from San Diego. They've been able to kind of unlock the deep pass game in a way that I think Utah is still searching for.
Yes, definitely. Again, we finally saw Utah with that deep look. We saw 2 of them in that last point, just wasn't able to convert. And instead, San Diego picks the disc, goes the other way, and scores with Elimelech with the score.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to see here Pajunas getting this block.
Again, clean, and then you just see San Diego staying on the open side, Pajunas then seeing Elimelech, but where's what's nice about this throw? You see how it hangs? It means that Elimelech's just about to run underneath it rather than have to sprint out and get a layout grab. Not to say that she can't, but it just made it an easier pass.
Yeah, and I think one of the differences there from Pajunas' throw was that she was able to put it up and have it sit, whereas, you know, previously in that same point, Helton had thrown a huck that was a little bit more of a laser, and the disc did not hold so well. It was ultimately a turn. Stanislawski up to Kircher. Songer. Bingham. Robbins with a nice catch. Back to Kircher. Utah content to move the disc kind of laterally back and forth. Finally finding a break up line there for Kircher.
I'm not sure why Kircher didn't want to hit Cogburn on that.
Yeah, she was looking for her. Maybe there was a slight poach that maybe we didn't see. But unfortunately, that disc just off the fingertips of Stanislawski, and Jones is picking up for San Diego.
Another chance for a break for San Diego.
Jones to Wu. Beautiful around backhand. Love that throw.
Nice use of the width of the field. You know Wu's going to look deep. You know that's what they're looking for.
Another nice around backhand from Wu.
Nice D by Utah to keep possession. Again, this is an all-important, in my opinion, opportunity for Utah. They've got to score. They've got to get their O-line off of the field, get their D-line back on so they can get back to their game plan.
Cogburn to Stanislawski. Over to Stoller, who makes a sliding catch. Nice soft throw there to Songer. Back to Cogburn. A little bit of stagnation from the cutters downfield here for Utah. Cogburn forced to dish it back to Songer. Up to Robbins, finally finds an outlet.
You see the poach coming off for San Diego. That's why they don't have the open side, and San Diego's made it really hard on the arounds. But Cogburn, you know what happens when you get down. Cogburn says, I'm going to put this in my own hands, and I will do it for you.
Utah really needed that hold.
Definitely. I mean, absolutely. We are halfway through the second quarter. We needed Utah to be able to get their O-line off the field. And again, I trust Cogburn in any situation like this. That's exactly why Jen is on this field at this point, because she knows what it takes to get the job done. And that's why she held the disc. I don't know if you could see even some of her own frustration in this point, but especially after that D from Stanislawski, it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, and I think something that you see the San Diego defense doing there really effectively is having a really strong wrapping mark that's taking away the arounds. And Utah is really well known for their arounds. I think that when you watch any film of them, they do such a nice job of swinging the disc. And so San Diego has basically decided, hey, let's try to make that as hard as possible for Utah.
Utah, again, employing the strategy of trapping San Diego just at half field on the sideline. And again, you just saw on the footage the coach of Utah Wild talking to the O-line of the Utah Wild.
Willis up to Salvation. Diaz. Ellis. Diaz. And Elimelech there with the score. Almost a miscommunication. The two players are giggling a little bit because it seemed like Elimelech was about to clear that space.
Yeah, and Diaz just released it. And just so you know, that is Diaz's third assist of this game already, only halfway through the second quarter right now. Again, this is the WUL semifinals between Utah Wild, San Diego Super Bloom. San Diego currently up 7-3 in this first of two semifinals.
We'll get another look at this right here. If you're Utah, that was a little bit of a tough point because your O-line has just been out for 3 or 4 points. And you think, oh, I'm going to take a little moment to rest. I'm going to take some water. And then all of a sudden, you're back out.
This is the question about the strategy. If you are only starting the disc at halfway and you're giving San Diego really only 40 yards to go to score, how long do you really think you're going to keep your D-line on the field?
And, you know, well, they got 1 turn out of it so far.
True.
They've run it, I think, 3 or 4 times. So percentage-wise, okay, maybe. But let's see if they, you know, we'll see if they adjust and they change their mind.
O-line back on the field for Utah Wild. Utah Wild in white, San Diego in black.
Kircher finds Perquette. Stanislawski. Bingham is open on the sideline.
Where
now the
is
hitter.
their defender?
Maybe they're
It's Pajunas.
choosing to leave.
Just a drop. So it was Pajunas. So Pajunas was actually sitting center field, trying to take away the deep looks. And now going downfield, looking for an end zone. Kayla Hilton to Kristen Pajunas. What a combination these two have been. Great grab by Pajunas. Made it so easy because of that throw from Kayla Hilton. And now another break for San Diego.
That was a perfect throw by Hilton. That was a 60, 65-yard flick puck in the upwind end zone, going upwind, that held its edge beautifully.
It's not even its edge. It just sat on a platter. That was dinner, dessert, and second dinner. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you for that.
It's coffee, too. You know, I have coffee after dinner.
Oh, you get coffee. There you go. A port, you know, what is it?
Yeah, and Utah, you know, trying to cover after this really short field turn, but really, really beautiful throw. Just on a line from Helton to Pajunas.
And you know what's so great? I mean, I would love to have this highlight play coming from Pajunas with the layout, but I got to tell you, the fact that Pajunas was able to just run that down in stride is such a testament, again, to Kayla's throw, because Kayla exactly understood Pajunas' speed and put it exactly where Pajunas could get it in stride. I broke my pen.
and now Utah has to go in that upwind direction. Really nice big pull from San Diego. Songer up to Perquette.
Utah looking to find their identity back, and right now it's just been a lot of miscues and a lot of overthrows, unfortunately, for Utah Wild.
Yeah, wide throw there from Williams, trying to throw a backhand, and it just kind of died a little bit trying to go upwind.
San Diego now with another chance for a break.
Ellis to Cabriales, over to Salvachon, and then back to Cabriales and Ellis. Nice around throw.
Notably, Kayla Hilton still on the field.
Helton finds Diaz, who's crossing over as well. San Diego Super Bloom really just wants to pour it on the Utah Wilds. Ishii with a great around throw to Ellis.
At this point, if I'm San Diego, I'm slowing the disc down. You know, you are very content at this point with just playing catch, except if you're Kayla Hilton. In which case, Kayla's like, no, I'm done playing.
Yeah. I'll take the assist, please.
Yep, that's my third. Thank you very much.
Nice catch there by Salvachon. There's a defender right on her, but she does a nice job of holding positioning.
And you know, it was interesting. You almost saw San Diego almost lulling Utah into complacency. And not even saying complacency, don't get me wrong. Utah Wild is working out there. But San Diego just very patient in their offense, finding the right moment to throw that upline dart. Really nice, again, on a platter, really easy to catch. We're just seeing the replay coming in. Diaz looking for Kayla Hilton. Kayla Hilton looking downfield, sees the space downfield, puts it out to Salvachon.
Nice movement there from San Diego.
Now, I have to tell you, even at 9-3, I don't think this game has gotten away from Utah Wild.
Absolutely not. And I think that's the thing that is really fun about the Western Ultimate League is that we play with a clock. And so that means that there's still so much time left in this game.
I mean, if Utah, you can see San Diego has scored 9 in this first half, so can Utah Wild. Just looks like it landed just out of bounds. It means it's going to come back to the center of the field.
Aragon is going to be the one that's starting off this Utah offensive push. Looks like Utah has more of their defensive unit on the field right now. Nice tipped disc.
Pass, turnover. It was a zone look coming from San Diego. That was Lexi Stanbaugh.
Stanbaugh with a nice block there. Jones picking up the disc, looking to WU. Beautiful round backhand, but well read by Aragon, who intercepts. And now Utah Wild is off to the races. Miller to Robbins.
This is where your D-line offense really starts to shine. You know that the D-line offense has been trained to just move the disc, move the disc, move the disc. And right now, perhaps that is the benefit to Utah as we see them score, finally stopping the bleeding at this point.
Hunter and Huzhnikova just playing catch between friends. Really nice movement there from Utah's defensive unit, playing offense to try to stop the bleeding.
And again, we call it bleeding, but let's be clear. When we talk about the offense and we talk about these games, these are games of runs. And the job of your D-line or any time that you're on offense is to stop the other team from scoring. So this is an imperative hold that was for Utah. At this point now, that D-line's going to come right back out because now their job is to get the break. All right, now we see this replay again. Nicely read by Aragon. Just saw the look, and then you just see the nice, easy passes, just patient. Sees the up line and gets the goal. Again, all things considered, good hold by Utah. Again, just demonstrating to them, hey, you can do this. Let's get back into this game 1 point at a time.
Another one of those rolling style pulls trying to pin.
Oh, that didn't go out of bounds, I think.
You're right, I don't think it did either. Sort of helixed back onto the field, but nonetheless.
Much better pull, actually.
Yeah, San Diego's all of a sudden pinned there. Nice upline cut from Iwamoto, trying to find Helton. Nice block by Wallen. A little bit of a contact, excuse me. Tangling their feet a little bit there.
Yeah, looking like Utah Wild sort of landed on Kayla Hilton. I can see both players at this point probably looking for a trainer. Again, that pass a little bit behind Hilton. But again, the contact still nonetheless injuring seemingly both players.
Interesting, because they're kind of coming at different angles.
So at this point now, the trainer working with Hilton at this point looks like checking out knee or ankle at the moment. Wallen still on the ground as well. Again, when we talk about these games, this is obviously players really want to be at this moment, but no one wants to get hurt. So we are seeing at this point the trainers looking to take care of both players, address if there's any need to substitute players in and out. Observers coming in. Again, let's take a moment to acknowledge we do have 4 women and non-binary observers here. This is something the WUL has committed itself to bringing for these games. Kayla Hilton helped off the field at this point to the, I think, relief of the crowd.
Yeah, some nice cheering, sorry, not cheering, but clapping from the crowd. Glad to see Hilton standing and walking off the field of her own volition.
And now we'll get the outcome of the call. So we see Wallen is issued a yellow card, again with the WL, with an emphasis on dangerous plays, or at least avoiding dangerous plays. The observers are empowered to notify players when a play has been deemed to have gone a little too far. Again, Wallen was going for the disc, let's be clear, but the contact at this point was resulted obviously in an injury, and the observer has issued Wallen the yellow card.
We'll get the action started here pretty quickly, and Utah here will get possession of the disc. First time the defensive side of Utah has gotten the disc in a while, since practically the first point. Nice throw up to Wallen. Norris now with a disc.
Trapped on the sideline.
Beautiful round throw there. Swinging the disc really nicely.
Looks like there was a pick called. Again, you can see all of the players with their arms up. That signals a pick. That means a player has indicated that they were obstructed from playing defense on the offensive player. Again, we'll go back into the pre-stall. You can see the observers signaling downfield. The pre-stall is now over.
Atwell with a disc. Trying to find Hunter on sort of a loopy backhand, but disrupted there by Zettner with her second block of the game, I believe.
That's what I have.
Iwamoto up to Zettner. Beautiful way pass, nicely weighted into the end zone, and a score for San Diego. That's number 15, Jessica Wan.
Third score of the game. Was that Zettner who put that up?
Yes, really nice flick huck there. And Wan is really finding some nice spaces in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, again, third goal of the game. We're in the second quarter right now. You see Zettner in the middle of the field, just looks and uncorks a look downfield. Again, Wan able to get behind the defenders, and an easy hold for San Diego at this point. So now at this point we are seeing Utah Wild is down 10-4, 56 seconds left in this first half. We are only in the second quarter of our first of two semifinal games here for the WL Championship weekend.
Yeah, the next two games will the next game, will start at 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll have Seattle Tempest versus San Francisco Falcons. We hope you'll join us for that game as well. They'll be right here on YouTube on the Western Ultimate League's YouTube channel. In the meantime, we're focused on this game that's happening right in front of us. Big pull from San Diego. Helton with a really nice pull. It just floats out of bounds. Songer does a nice job of reading that and deciding to not catch it. And instead, we'll have the opportunity to bring the disc in the middle of the field.
You know, if I'm Utah, I'm going to ask myself about whether or not we should be moving the disc faster once we get it, or wait and allow San Diego to set up like this. Because again, what you see right now, what looks to be a zone look coming out of San Diego, what looks like a 1-3-3, that's what I'll call it. But again, you can hear, if you can hear in the background, there's actually a male voice counting down. This is a transition zone for San Diego. What they're looking for is a number of passes, after which they will call off the D and then go into person.
Cogburn with a really nice backhand. Actually had two receivers that broke three from the Utah side. Not really sure where the deep was for San Diego. We'll get a chance to see it in a second here for the replay, but a great rip from Cogburn.
But also great time awareness. Let's be clear. I'm not sure if Cogburn recognizes, but with 56 seconds, we're now down only to 23. That means Utah Wild now has another chance to potentially take a break out of this game. Again, really nice. Starts with a nice break. Cogburn looks downfield, realizes open receiver, time to let it unleash. Again, we talked about Utah Wild's ability to throw deep. We finally are getting just glimpses of it right now. Nice grab by Caldwell in the end zone, who came from the far side of the field to this side of the field to get that grab.
Really nice movement there from the Utah Wild against that San Diego zone.
Yeah, just have to go over the top, and again, especially as you get to the higher stall count, the higher count of throws, around 5, they're transitioning. And whether Utah Wild realizes it or not, that's the best opportunity to strike.
Shortall, again, with a very short pull, a roller pull, and the disc will be on the sideline for San Diego. Willis picking it up.
High stall count.
Looking for Diaz, and they had their hands on it, but unfortunately she just couldn't hang on.
So now Utah Wild with about 10 seconds left to go on the clock. Again, very smart call by Utah Wild, utilizing their timeout here. This is an opportunity to put your O-line back on.
Yeah, and with 10-ish seconds here on the clock, 9 seconds, really all that Utah needs to do is possess the disc for 9 seconds and then score. You see another replay here of the turn.
Yeah, it was just above Diaz's head, and Diaz was already a little bit past the disc, and so it was hard for Diaz, I think, to just get back and grab that disc. But all things considered, this is what Utah Wild would want. Again, an opportunity to get another point, get a break going into the second half, so that you can regroup, come back into the second half. Again, we're only halfway through this game.
Yeah, and Utah's had a number of those short pulls, and they've gotten 2 turns out of it.
I want to track it. I don't know. I mean, I think that was 2 for 6.
I think that's right. That sounds about right.
And so there's always going to be a question. Strategy is always about choice. There's
Right.
no one ever saying that strategy is right or wrong. It's just
Right.
a choice. And in this case, we can see that Utah has seemingly, for the first half, made deliberate choices to try and trap San Diego on the sideline and try and get an early turnover. Now, again, when they get the early turnover, great. But when they don't, again, we were seeing San Diego taking advantage and scoring quickly, forcing that O-line to come back out.
And San Diego here is putting a zone formation on. And I really like that because that's going to hopefully cause Utah to throw a lot of passes. And once the time expires, so once that clock gets to 0, Utah will not be able to call a timeout, which...
Oh, another timeout is called. So Utah Wild did have 2 timeouts. And so what we see here is the coach noting that there was a zone, decided, let's talk about it right now. Now the question will be, will Coach Angela Wells of Superblown keep this zone look on or show us something different?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Do you think it was that they were saying, hey, let's talk about the zone? Or do you think it was, let's use both timeouts and make sure that we're going to get an offensive possession?
No, I think
the end
it's
of the quarter.
you got to look at what it was. It's almost like when you see in football, you got to look at what the formation looks like and said you don't like it. Let's take a chance to talk about it. Let's talk about what we can do. Noted that when Utah came out of that timeout, they were already in a vertical stack. At this point, I expect to see Utah Wild come out into what would look like more like a zone offense. So no, I'm pretty sure that is Utah Wild's coach recognizing, hey, and I think that was Michael Aguilar who called that timeout. Let's talk about it. Let's give ourselves the best opportunity. This is our chance for a break.
So let's see how Utah sets up here. I think you're right. They're going into a little bit more of a zone formation, almost a little bit into a horizontal set.
And now the question is Coach Angela Wells saying, I'm going to give you the same exact look, I don't care, or a different look?
Looks like the coach decided to go person, so really interesting. I really love that. That's some super fun sort of chess match between the two
moves
coaches.
happening between these two coaches. I mean, this is the best part about these timeout calls, especially when you can reset players as well. Now, again, you heard the horn. That means this is Utah Wild's last possession and the only possession for this game. So either this point will end with Utah Wild scoring or it will end with a turnover. And again, we see Paige Kircher throwing up to 2 people. Great grab.
Nice grab there by Miller. It's the first time Kircher has really found the deep space with their throws, and they needed it because Utah cutters were so deep. Stanislavski up to Songer, around to Aragon.
Again, free time. This is about, can San Diego get a stop? Can Utah Wild score?
Songer looking for Stoller, seemed to be open, but maybe Songer just wasn't quite ready. Elects for the scoober instead to Kircher.
Okay, you want to score with style, that's fine. I mean, I guess there's no time left on the clock.
Point's the point, though.
It's a style point. I feel like that has to count for 2. Yeah, again, we saw, I hope we get to see this replay. There was a wide open. Utah
Stoller
player.
seemed wide open. Now, we'll see on the replay if Stoller was indeed open or if the mark sort of flashed in a way that maybe caused Songer to second guess it.
All right, we see Paige Kircher with the deep look. Again, I understood that Paige has not thrown it deep, but wow, those were 2 receivers, very good receivers downfield. Great read there.
By Miller. And here's the cheeky.
Who threw that?
That was Songer.
Of course.
To Kircher.
Songer's second assist of the game. And again, now, y'all, we are at 10-6, end of the first half. San Diego Superboom ahead of Utah Wild. We are coming at you here at WL Championship Weekend, one of 2 games here in sunny Seattle. I'm still my mind's still being blown with the weather.
Yeah, we're going to go on to a break before we have an interview from our sideline reporter, Charlie Eide. We hope you'll stay with us for the rest of this exciting matchup.
Or you stay with us right now, and we're going to keep talking about this first half, and we're going to keep talking about how Utah Wild has broken back into this game. It's 10-6 coming into this second half. And we will be coming back at you very shortly, y'all. Stay tuned, welcome, and stay with us here with the WL.
July from Nottingham, England, the World Flying Disc Federation's World Under-24 Ultimate Championships. Live all-access coverage, including semis and finals, exclusively at ultiworld.com.
Welcome back here to the WUL. This is halftime here for the first of two semifinal games here between San Diego Superbloom and Utah Wild. San Diego Superbloom currently up 10-6 on Utah Wild. Gina, what did you see in the first half?
First half, I think San Diego just did a really nice job defensively, taking away Utah's deep game. And we're actually going to get a chance to hear from the Utah Wild themselves. So we're going to send it down to Charlie Eide, who is our sideline reporter.
Hello, I'm Charlie Eide down here on the sideline with Utah Wild player
Molly Robbins. Hello.
Thanks for being down here. What an exciting first half. Cool to see you score that last point there. What kind of stuff should we be looking for in the second half?
I think we learned a lot from this first half. We were really looking to kind of narrow the options for them on defense, and I think we managed to do that, but we just want to do it a little bit more, really close those gaps just an extra little bit to be able to get some turns. And then on offense, I mean, I think we're really seeing they're sending us some zone looks. They're doing some great poaching up front. So for us, I think it's just about making better decisions on the options they do give us. So we'll tighten both sides up a little bit.
Awesome, thank you. And what players should we keep a special eye out for on Wild to really blow up in the second half?
Ooh, I think you can already see it in her eyes that Corey Bigham's having a big game, touching it every other. A number of points. Kaylee Caldwell's really tight in everyone's shorts, and Kendra
What's
Miller
a beauty shot?
as well. So I think they're going to stay
beautiful
fired
shot.
up, the
Got
three
it.
of them.
Awesome, looking forward to another Wild comeback here in the second half. So
That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping to give you an interesting ride in the last two quarters.
yeah, we can definitely count on y'all for that.
Yeah, we try.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really fun to hear from players themselves. I mean, you have us two on the mic, myself, Chena Tidcombe, and Manisha Dariani, but it's kind of just another flavor to hear players talk about the feelings of the game, what they're seeing, what they're feeling. And I think Molly Robbins did kind of a nice job of identifying, what San Diego was doing well. They were putting a bunch of defensive pressure on Utah, and I also think she identified something that is really true. Like, Utah Wild is very well known for having exciting second halves, and I think I think we'll see an exciting second half.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to the second half as well. Again, this is Utah Wild versus San Diego Superbloom, the first of two semifinals here on championship weekend. We're so glad you're here with us, and we are excited to bring you back some more action. Stay tuned.
Own a Utah vacation rental? Vacasa is your ultimate partner. Head to vacasa.com to see how Vacasa keeps your vacation home booked, cared for, and earning to its highest potential. We are thrilled to announce the official brewery of Utah Wild for 2023, WUL Brewing. You can find us celebrating every Utah Wild game this year at this local brew pub. Their huge projector screen, great food menu, and award-winning beer make this a great home for our watch parties and after parties. Be wilder and head out over to the WUL Brewing right after this game for Wild's official after party. This venue is 21 plus. We'd like to highlight one of Utah Wild's sponsors, Strive and Uplift. Strive and Uplift provides lifting and running programming to Wild athletes. Through their values of accessibility, support, growth, and service, Strive and Uplift is passionate about providing high-quality movement education and sports performance guidance in a supportive environment. Through cultivating community spaces for movement and connection, Strive and Uplift helps individuals of all abilities discover how to move confidently in their bodies. To learn more, visit striveanduplift.com. A huge thank you for being a sponsor of the Utah Wild. We'd like to shout out 3 of Utah Wild sponsors: Spurt One at Physical Midvale, Handy and Handy Attorneys at Law, and We Win Injury Law. Their support of women and non-binary athletes helps make this season possible. For more information on these organizations, visit www.utahwildultimate.org/sponsors. Thank you all for sponsoring the Utah Wild.
Hello and welcome back to the 2023 Western Ultimate League Championship Weekend presented by Discraft. We're going to talk a little bit about the game that's happening right now. We'll talk a little bit later about the game, the second matchup, but for now we have the Utah Wild versus the San Diego Super Blue. Now, Manisha, when you're looking at these stats, it's a lot to take in, but what's something that stands out to you?
I mean, by and large, this should be a closer game. That's what actually stands out to me. Now, San Diego clearly with 5 breaks to Utah Wild's 1. But that said, if you just think about clean holds and total turnovers, this should be a much closer game. San Diego clearly has taken advantage of the opportunities that they've been given, and when they've gotten an opportunity to get a turnover, they have taken advantage of it. And that right now is the difference maker. All this means to me is that Utah Wild is absolutely in the driver's seat to come back into this game.
Yeah, I think just a couple, couple plays that go Utah Wild's way, and the score is a little tighter.
Absolutely.
Right. The Utah had a couple drops, a couple quick miscues, a couple turfed discs or sort of short passes. And my takeaway is that, like you said, it seems like Utah's there. They can really close the gap here, and I think it's something we should expect them to do. These teams have been working so hard this season to get to this moment, and they want it. They want to make it to the final game tomorrow.
Yep, that will be a 2 o'clock championship placement game at 2 o'clock, a third place game. The loser of this particular game will then play the loser of the 6 p.m. game, which will be on YouTube. Here in Seattle, it will be Seattle Tempest versus San Francisco Falcons.
Yeah, and to talk just a little bit about that game, obviously San Francisco, you're the coach.
You have to out me.
Yeah, well, how are you feeling? How are you feeling going into this weekend, having made it to championship weekend, which is a huge accomplishment. We haven't even talked about that actually for these two teams either, but a really big accomplishment to even make it to championship weekend. How are you feeling about it? I
mean, yeah, the Southwest Conference was a barn burner to get out of. And, whether you are San Diego or you are San Francisco Falcons, I think that those games have made you prepared for this weekend. I mean, we're facing off against the Northwest Conference here, and it's an exciting opportunity. I am so pleased to be here, privileged to be here, and I'm excited to bring you back to the second half of San Diego Super Bloom and Utah Wild.
Another short pull there from Utah Wild. We got Iwamoto picking up, likely trying to break it off the sideline immediately. But as I said that, actually Iwamoto elects to look for Diaz in the deep space and unfortunately just that throw somehow came off a little sticky and didn't seem to have very much air under it. So Utah will have their first chance in the second half for a break.
In fairness, this is exactly how our first half started. The first point, it was an immediate turnover, Utah Wild with the disc, and then a turnover. Great D by Elimelech.
Wow, Elimelech just canceled Carly Atwell's around backhand. Really fun play that just happened there. Ellis is picking up the disc for San Diego right on the doorstep, literally on the cone. You see the observers are physically moving the cone out of the way. Cheeky, high release backhand to Diaz, but that's who you want to be throwing goals to.
Interesting fact, this is actually Diaz's first goal of the game. Diaz throwing 3 assists in the first half. This is the first time we're seeing Diaz score. You can see again clearly the target that they're looking for. That was the first target in the first throw. Diaz finding the end zone in the second opportunity.
We'll get a replay in just a moment here, but that was a brilliant block by Elimelech, and we've talked about so many of the San Diego players, but I'd say Elimelech's got such a great mark. It's really fun to see a mark be rewarded with the actual block, and this is so fun to watch.
I mean, it's almost unfair, to be honest. Let's talk about, what is it called when you talk about the reach of someone's hands?
Oh, yeah, the proportion of their...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ape index is what I'm trying to talk about. But my goodness, can we imagine? Can we have Elimelech at the end of this tell us?
Show us what it is, yeah.
You at home, does anyone know?
She's got long arms. I don't need to know her ape index to know that she's got very long arms and a big reach.
But again, to your point, clean block. That's what we saw.
Kircher.
Great D by Pajunas. It was just baited. You could see Pajunas looking for that throw.
Looking for Atwell, but a really nice block, and San Diego's off to the races. Zettner right on the doorstep, wasn't able to get that one in. Trying to find Ellis, in a really nice bid there by Atwell, or sorry, Caldwell, excuse me. Comes up empty-handed. San Diego gets the block.
Again, quick turnaround. This is what San Diego is here to do. They want to get the turn. They want to immediately run downfield. You saw it was Pajunas in the end zone before even anyone had picked up the disc.
Yeah.
Pajunas was in the end zone. And then it was just a matter of finding the right person. Zettner sitting on the goal line, waiting for a person, throwing, I would say, a very tight, hard throw to Ellis and trusting their receiver. So early start for San Diego here.
Just so well read from Pajunas. She saw that play developing and it just came in.
And a nice grab by Ellis. Again, great bid from Utah Wild, but just Ellis coming up with the disc, be able to get to that disc first. So from 10-6 where we started, we are only a minute and a half in. It is now 12-6.
Kircher to Songer. Utah's got that strong handler core out working together. Not a ton of movement, but Kircher finds Stanislawski on a really nice scoober. Songer back to Kircher.
And this is the thing, Utah Wild just has to find the soft spot. This zone has a soft spot in the middle of the field, and you can see receivers are not even having to move if you can find the player.
Terpstra up to Kircher.
And now they go to person, which is very smart for San Diego at this point.
Nice around there from Kircher. Terpstra. Stanislawski looking for Terpstra. Elimelech there, elects to not come in for that bid, which I really like, actually.
And it was a good awareness by the thrower, realizing that they could throw out to space.
Songer. Stanislawski's open on that far cone for the Utah hold. Really nice patience there from Utah. I think that was kind of a point where we saw them be the most patient, and it really did pay off. They were able to find spaces in San Diego's zone, put the disc in the end zone.
And more importantly, patience on the end zone. If I were to critique right now Utah, I would say it's about making sure they find patience in the end zone, and that starts with some break throws. Again, we saw that in the first half. We saw break. Then we see Songer finding a nice open Stanislawski. Really, the only way that works is when you move the disc side to side. That's what gives you that space. That was the third assist for Kat Songer. finding themselves on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think Utah's got to feel pretty good about that point. And let's see, you know, how much pressure the Utah Wild defense now can put on San Diego's O-line.
Short pull, yes or no?
Short pull. Oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be a short pull for sure because the player actually moved further to the sideline, so I thought it was going to be short pull again. But Iwamoto.
And now we see a different zone look coming from Utah Wild.
And I like it because they've only played person, I believe, so it's kind of fun to just do something a little different. Diaz to Iwamoto.
Now back into person.
Nice around there to Willis. Salvation. Back to Willis. Big backhand. Looking for Messner. And Salvation to Diaz. Unless Molly Robbins can say differently, but nice pass there from San Diego. Clean hold. This San Diego offense has been very clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Been super clean, been more importantly patient, finding the right looks, waiting for the right moments to be able to attack the end zone. And you can see it in this replay here. You know, you get to the big side of the field, and this is even actually the trap side of the field, but just waiting, finding the right receivers. And Diaz is really hard to contain in the end zone.
She really is. She's very tall, and so as a thrower, when you're throwing to Diaz, the box in which you can throw to is just so large because she can jump, she can lay out, she's got great hands. Really fun receiver.
Yeah, second goal of the day so far. Again, started with 3 assists in the first half. Now 2 goals here early in the third quarter. Again, we're about 8:40 in. Left to go in this third quarter between the first of 2 semifinals here for the WL. WUL with the pull.
Liking these big pulls going upwind. Kircher with a forehand centering pass to Songer, which is interesting. You don't often see that. Looking for Cogburn, and I don't think that she knew that Ishii was right there trying to get the block. Pajunas, a well-timed timeout from Coach Wells from the sideline.
So some discussion right now on the field about where that timeout was called, but again, you could hear the timeout call in the broadcast itself. That is Coach Wells saying, I would rather get my O-line back on.
And we see this right here. Cogburn pulls up thinking it's just going to be a clap catch. And Ishii with a really nice block, kind of hiding and then exploding to get the block. Pajunas got a little lucky there because that was a turn.
I know. Again, this is the advantage of this timeout call system. Again, because the sideline is the one calling it, the coach on the sideline is calling it. So long as the disc is in the player's hand at the time that whistle starts, the outcome of the play is nullified.
And we should expect San Diego to put in their O-line here, but you know, as I'm looking, they don't seem to have made any changes to who's on the field at this moment. They've got WU with the disc, so you know they're changing who has the disc in their hand, but looks like to be the same group of players out on the field.
Well, in this case, then Utah Wild now with an opportunity to put their D-line on, which is what they are doing. Their O-line is sitting on the sideline right now, or not sitting, standing on the sideline, talking to their coach, trying to figure out when they get back on the field what adjustments they're going to make. If San Diego's going to keep playing this zone, they can't keep throwing into it. Yeah,
and WU looks like is going to be isolating Lexa Stambaugh at the front of the end zone there. Utah does a nice job double teaming, forcing WU to reset the disc. Ishii with the disc. Back to WU. Beautiful round backhand. Love that. And
that's actually a great D by Utah Wild. That was a great D by Utah Wild. I mean, it was clean, and San Diego just did not have possession. Now you see off to the races. Quick movement coming from Utah Wild.
Wallen and Miller just content to play catch. Aragon back to Miller. Some nice tempo here from Utah Wild's defensive unit out on offense. Miller, really nice around backhand, finding Molly Robbins, who's open on that far side.
Open because, again, Pajunas has been playing center field. hanging out, waiting for an opportunity to get a block.
Nice catch there by Aragon in some traffic. It's a little bit hard to tell which player that was who was coming in for the backside block, but Aragon does a nice job just securing the disc. Pre-stall is happening. Aragon's still with the disc. Inside break.
On the doorstep, about 5 yards out.
So many options, a lot of receivers going every which direction. And a second effort grab there by Shortall was really nice.
And you go to the break side? That's what you do?
Yes, we love that. Really nice goal there by Schelke. Utah Wild's defense is able to secure the hold for Utah Wild.
So this is one of those instances in which whether that timeout actually hurt San Diego, because what it allowed Utah to do is put their D-line on the field, and that D-line, again, they are trained to move that disc, move that disc, move that disc. And once they get to this goal line, then it was just a matter of finding the right person, and they got very lucky with this second grab.
I mean, that's
here.
an amazing catch, because the second effort concentration to make that is so difficult. And Wallen there gets the nice assist to Schelke for the hold.
So now this D-line has to come back out. Again, same question. Disc will land in or out. What do you think?
Based on who's holding it, Aragon is holding it. I'm going to say that it's not the roller pole, because she's not been the one that's been throwing the roller poles.
So perhaps it's a change of strategy now for Utah Wild. Have decided we're going to play a little bit more downfield, force San Diego Super Bloom to really earn their scores.
Ellis to Jones, back to Ellis. A little bit poachy here from Utah. I like it just to try to slow the offense down. Ellis trying to find Diaz. 2 Utah defenders, but Diaz just runs it down. Really nice throw there from Ellis. Puts it in a spot that only Diaz can get.
I don't even know if Ellis realized that that's what they were doing when they released the disc, but Diaz so fast, to your point, 2 defenders in the area. Diaz now with her 3rd goal here in the second half to complement the 3 assists she's had in the first half. 14-8 lead for San Diego Super Bloom at this point, halfway through the 3rd quarter. And you see that the give-go motion, the same thing we saw Utah Wild do, the defensive players on San Diego Super Bloom, like, we can do it too. And then Diaz just really outrunning everyone.
Yeah, Herzhanikova, was right there, but Diaz does a nice job of, using her body to make sure that there's no chance for the defense to make any kind of play on it.
So the question now for Utah Wild, again, this is a 6-point lead, but not an insurmountable lead.
They just need to chip away one by one. And they're there. Kircher. Back to Kircher, just playing catch with Atwell right now. Oh, excuse me, that's Caldwell. Terpstra. Stanislawski attacks over the top to find Perquette.
And a great D by Pajunas.
What a great block.
Pajunas has been hunting and waiting for this opportunity to get a block, and finds that opportunity.
San Diego now gets another opportunity for a break.
And just a little bit of overthrow. Utah Wild now with the disc.
Looking for Ellis, but really nicely read by Stanislawski. Kircher, a soft forehand, trying to find Williams, but just off the fingertips.
Williams just didn't see that disc go up.
Yeah, and so Jones picks up immediate flick huck to Pajunas. Not at all surprising. Nice pressure there from Caldwell to cause that to be a turn. Kircher.
So this is the point of the game where it could get messy or it could get advantageous for Utah. Utah kind of, I think, works well with the chaos.
Bingham has Terpstra up line.
Again, you can see Pajunas coming off, and now Pajunas pays for it.
Nice patience there from Terpstra to find Caldwell with a really soft backhand away pass into the end zone.
And again, all set up because Pajunas saw Paige Kirchner going up line and decided to try and either help with the sandwich D, and then good awareness by Utah Wild to find that there was a receiver open in the end zone. Just got to put it out to them and let them catch it. Nice, quick point in particular. That's what matters. For Utah Wild, points need to be efficient. And
yeah, we won't see a replay quite yet of the layout block, but I think, you know, as Utah, you have to know that San Diego has designed their zones for defenders like Pajunas to get layout blocks in that second layer of the zone. And I think that that's a little bit of just a miscue, or sort of like a missed mental note that Utah just is allowing the San Diego zone to do what it's designed to do.
And now the question is Utah's defensive strategy. Again, going back to the roller pull.
We have Iwamoto that's going to be picking up the disc on that far side. She'll have Ishii set up in the handler space with her, as well as Willis.
I think that was another no look.
I think that was another no look as well. Yeah, lefty backhand, excuse me. Iwamoto with a disc.
Some sort of pick has been called downfield. Observer just coming onto the field just to kind of get a sense of what's going on, figure out what the stall is going to come in, and initiate the pre-stall.
I love how loud the observers are being with their pre-stalls. I can hear them from up here, and I love it. Diaz with a disc, caught under pressure.
Nice switching by Utah Wild. I know that that's underrated right now, but that is making San Diego throw extra passes.
Diaz and Iwamoto playing catch, and Wallen does a nice job of disrupting that, gets the block for Utah Wild.
And now we see a deep look immediately coming from Utah Wild.
I like the look, but it was already such a deep receiver. The thrower really had to punch that one, and ran out of gas.
And Diaz with notching up another stat on this game with the D.
Iwamoto, high release around backhand to Ellis, excuse me.
And turnover by San Diego. Again, a little bit messy, but at this point now, if you're Utah Wild, let's settle. Let's pick up the disc. Find easy passes first before you start looking for the deep one.
Atwell to Shortall.
Open deep receiver.
All the way up to Norris, who finds Wallen.
Just outside the end zone. Drops it back, very smart.
Back to Norris. Flick to Wallen, who gets the bookends on that point. Utah Wild able to go that full 80 yards from one end zone to the other. And all of a sudden, it's a 4-point team. And there's
Utah
a little
Wild.
bit more energy. There's a little bit more energy from Utah right now. You
They
see them,
will chip away.
yeah, you see them getting all fired up, cheering each other on, saying, hey, we can do this.
And now again, this was a bit of a messy point, but we still had some really nice defensive plays here in this game, particularly this block by Wallen. Great heads-up awareness, making sure, more importantly, that it was done safely. And then Diaz immediately getting the block to get the disc back. But right after this, again, San Diego turning over the disc, giving Utah Wild the opportunity to score. And then we see this great deep look to Wallen. Wallen just on the doorstep. Now, typically you'd see a player try and jam it into the end zone. Very smartly pulls it back and then waits, finds their space, gets the disc.
Yeah, nice patience from Wallen and Norris there to just play a little bit of catch between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego, a little bit of a different lineup here on their offensive unit, but Ellis has got the disc in the middle of the field. Finds Wu immediately.
Wu looks me downfield.
Hucking. Got Elimelech and Wallen, as well as Molly Robbins, but what a catch by Elimelech in traffic, trailing behind her. She secures the score for San Diego.
And this is what makes Elimelech such a strong player is Elimelech's ability to read the disc. You saw 2 defensive players there for Utah Wild. Elimelech understanding not only just her size, but recognizing how much she can move backwards to be able to recover for this disc. I think WU's disc went a little too far to what I would call the left, but Elimelech just patiently reading it, and then starts to trail backwards and then gets out of what we call the sandwich and able to secure that disc.
Yeah, a little bit of a missed opportunity there from the Utah Wild, would I say, because they had 2 defenders there, but they
both overly aggressive on this, and so as a result,
didn't work together,
allowing Elimelech to go backwards and be able to recover that disc.
And Elimelech is a very smart player, so she's able to slip out of that sandwich. But as a coaching staff, you got to see that play for Utah Wild and say, hey, we're right there. We just didn't execute.
Now the question will be, can Utah Wild get the hold and keep this as a 4-point game? About 2 minutes left here in the third quarter of the first of 2 semifinals here for the WL Championship weekend here in Seattle, Washington.
Songer up to Cogburn and now to Stoller. Lots of space in the on these unders for Utah. Perquette to
looking
Caldwell.
for the deep. You can see it.
Beautiful forehand hook from Caldwell, looking for Songer. And a quick dish to Stoller for the score. Nice use there from Utah of that deep space.
And this is the offense that I wanted folks at home to see. This is the Utah Wild we've been watching all season. A team that is not afraid to put the disc up deep, a team that will score quickly. Let's talk about how quickly they scored that point. There is still 1:33 left here in this third quarter, a 4-point game. Utah Wild is really at this point playing the playbook I expected them to play. And I do believe we can have another opportunity to see, is Utah Wild going to stick to the sideline, trap them, or are they going to try and force San Diego to have to play more offense on a larger field?
Yeah, and I think that's an especially interesting question given the clock, right? There's 1:33 seconds. Are they trying to force San Diego to throw a lot of passes and burn some clock, or are they trying to go person and maybe get a block really quickly?
I mean, these are the strategy calls that are made by your coach, and this is the job of this D-line right now, is to execute on that plan. So
it's funny. I was trying to get Manisha here to tell me what her thoughts were, but you're keeping it close.
I keep it close to the vest.
Yeah,
I do.
I do. San Diego on offense. Jones up to Diaz. Back to Jones. Around to Ellis. Aragon almost there, but nicely secured by Ellis. That's Messner on the far side. Nice movement here from San Diego. Diaz up to Ellis. Seemed to float there. And a high throw. Looking for Iwamoto is well defended.
Pick has now been called. Again, Utah Wild with the disc at this point, but with the pick called, we'll have another pre-stall in this moment. But yeah, Ellis with a great grab, and just the throw got away from her.
Yeah, and I believe that was Schelke with the block, number 12. Or was it Robbins who came down with that?
Unclear to me, but Utah Wild with the disc now.
Atwell working with Aragon. Really nice inside forehand there to Aragon.
Now airing it out again.
Looking for Robbins. It's a beautiful forehand shot.
Another, but now you're testing Elimelech.
And
great grab. That is a great grab.
Kendra Miller comes down with that one with Elimelech on her back, giving energy to this Utah Wild sideline. They are pumped up.
Listen, you know what, Utah Wild's offense is about just putting it deep, putting it deep, putting it deep. But I will tell you now, as a coach, if I see a one-on-one matchup with Elimelech, I'm not necessarily green lighting you. But Utah Wild says, you know what? We're going to get back into this game some way, somehow, and I don't care if Elimelech's in our way.
And here's the block here.
It was by Schelke.
It looks like it was by Schelke. And wow, we're going to get a chance to see this play again.
What a grab. What a phenomenal grab. Again, Robbins just looking downfield, no fear, puts it up, says, go get it. Really great grab by Miller. And again, energizing this sideline. This is now a 3-point game, y'all. We are still in the third quarter, 34 seconds left to go. Utah Wild has been crawling back into this game, point by point by point.
Y'all, I'm getting goosebumps, legit.
It's also a little cold.
It's also a little cold. We're in the shade up here in the booth, but yeah, this is an exciting game. Aragon with a pull.
Now we see Utah Wild sort of adopting this, like, let's pull them downfield, coming down in what looks to be some sort of poachy look at the moment.
Yeah, Wallen is sort of sitting deep, daring them to test her, and very switchy up front from Utah Wild. Hranek with the disc, finding Jones back and forth. Iwamoto. And if you heard that, that's the horn going off, so that means that this is the last possession of the game.
And what a great throw.
Wow.
What a great throw. That was Deanna Abrams getting on the stat sheet. What a great throw.
Abrams to Jones. Wow. I saw Abrams' number incorrectly a moment ago. Sorry about that. But wow, what a nice throw. Cross field, too. It wasn't just straight in front of her. She had to kind of arc it to the right.
I'm sure we're going to see the replay. But again, what you could actually hear during that point, you could hear Coach Angela Wells' voice telling the players that the clock was coming down, telling the players that there was no time left on this clock. And then you see Abrams looking, just turning the page on this look. Nice find with Jones in the end zone. Again, these last possession points really, really matter. Now it's a 4-point game.
And San Diego, I think, has done a really nice job with end-of-quarter clock management, I'd say, so far this game. And that's not to say that Utah has done a poor job at it. It's just that I think it's really standing out to me right now that San Diego did a really nice job of strategically holding onto the disc and making sure that they had the last offensive possession.
Right. And now we're coming into the all-important fourth quarter. What do you expect to see, Gina?
I really hope and I expect Utah to start throwing deep balls a little bit more. First of all, they kind of have nothing to lose. Like they need to score quickly, and so that's a great way to get some goals on the board.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see if this prediction comes true. Fourth quarter coming at you. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to the 2023 Western Ultimate League Championship Weekend. This is the fourth quarter of the matchup between San Diego Super Bloom and Utah Wild. San Diego's up 16-12, but Utah's very much in this game.
Absolutely. You saw Utah Wild crawling themselves back into this game, making this now a much closer game. I understand that San Diego ended with that score, but at this point, Utah Wild starting on offense with an opportunity to close that gap. We started with a 6-point differential, and now we're down to 4. And I know it doesn't feel like that much, but on 12-minute quarters, a lot can happen. San Diego with the pull.
Songer picking up the disc to Kircher. Finds a very open Atwell. Terpstra. Back to Atwell. Over to Kircher. I'm liking the tempo right now of the Utah offense. Atwell up to Bingham. Excuse me, Caldwell. Terpstra fakes a big backhand. Cogburn on the around.
They're cycling right now, and unfortunately not efficiently.
Williams to Songer. Has Terpstra open on the open side, finds her and hits her. Back to Songer in the middle. Bingham.
Doesn't want to hit Cogburn.
Over to Williams. Beautiful round excuse me, beautiful open side forehand trying to hit Terpstra, but Ellie Malik reads the play wonderfully.
And now you can see both sides having just played a lot of energy points. Just trying to slow the disc down now. San Diego with the disc.
Pajunas and Ellis content to play catch between the two of them. A near miscommunication, but Pajunas has the disc. Zettner to Pajunas, not quite in bounds, and Pajunas finds Ellis. And that Utah line, you know, I'm not so sure on that transition if they were, it seemed like they were caught between playing person and playing poachy, or playing a little bit switchy.
So I made a comment earlier that they were churning, but not efficiently. There was just a lot of energy expended by Utah Wild in that last point. And when the disc turned, they were just not in a position to either figure out who they were guarding, and more importantly, in a position to understand how they had to get the disc back. It was just a decision that just didn't work out in their favor, and at this point it was just Pajunas really kind of spearheading this particular point, waiting for the right look, finding Ellis here in the end zone. Pajunas on the day right now. I have her at 2 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah, you know, San Diego, obviously a very strong team, and we've been talking a lot about some of their players, and they've had a big impact on the stat line, but you know, I've been really impressed with number 7, Teresa Zettner. She's found some really nice pockets in the offense, and you know, she's got some stats to her name as well, but just fun to talk about the depth of the San Diego roster as well.
All right, Utah Wild now with the disc. 10 minutes, 15 seconds left in this final quarter of semifinal 1 here for the WUL Championship weekend.
Kircher to Cogburn, far side to Perquette. 2 receivers, and seemed like Kircher almost spooked her own teammate Stoller. Wu with the disc. Over to Ishii, back to Wu. Has an open Jones, finds her. Beautiful power position from Rue. Let's see if she puts up a huck.
I really thought a huck was coming.
I thought a huck was coming. Instead, she goes every other, finding Jones. And Jones.
What a great grab. What a great grab.
Wow, Abrams with a beautiful catch. And Jones makes that a highlight play for Abrams.
I mean, again, credit San Diego right now, just understanding what their game plan is coming into today, and that was when you get the disc on a turn, move, move, move. And what is so great about this grab is, one, it's a slight misthrow, but when you have receivers like Saperbloom does, it doesn't matter. They'll come up with it. Great finish here, and really nice movement by San Diego Superbloom, resulting in the highlight play.
Wow, so fun to watch. I love seeing plays like this. This is what Championship Weekend is all about. And it feels to me like San Diego has made all of the plays in this game, and Utah Wild has just been, you know, close, not quite, and somehow, you know, San Diego's just able to finish those little plays, and that feels like
right?
Yeah, and that feels like a big difference right now, and that's why the score line is, you know,
so
+6.
Back to the 6-point lead. This is where we were just, you know, early on in the third quarter. Utah Wild clawed their way back in. Can they do it again?
Hunter picking up the disc. We got San Diego in a bit of a junk set here. Finding Atwell. Up to Shortall. Back to Hunter. Shortall again. Big fake from Shortall. Over the top throw. Really nicely read by Cabrales, and San Diego is off to the races. They've got some O-line players actually over on this
You have someone
D.
open in the end zone.
And a nice block there by Wallen. Quick movement here from Utah. An over-the-top throw, finds Atwell.
And now comes the deep look. And now the question is it too short?
Wow, what a great catch from Schelke. Under pressure.
Now far side of the field.
A really nice around backhand. I believe that is Amy Norris who gets the goal. And really interesting there to see that the defensive unit from Utah no, yes, they turned it, but they got it back and they were able to secure the hold.
And again, you know, we've seen it. This happened in the third quarter. It happened also in the second. The Utah Wild D-line is really the impetus to try and get the rhythm back for Utah Wild. It is their strength, is their defensive team and how quickly they move. And movement has been working against San Diego. Holding the disc, waiting for the right pass, unfortunately just has not worked for Utah Wild. It's about being able to pull the disc downfield, trust your receivers. This was a great grab coming here just outside the end zone, well read, and then an even better decision to just swing the disc to the far side of the field to an open receiver. No problems.
Now the real issue here, though, is that time is running out for Utah Wild. You know, you can't just rely on your D-line to do that multiple times. You don't have that. You don't have that time.
We'll see.
Short pull roller this time from Utah Wild. They're likely going to try to trap San Diego on that far sideline. We've got Ellis picking up the disc for San Diego. Salvation had started their cut, but is a little too early. Back to Ellis. Over to Jones. Finding Juan. Over to Jones. Back to Ishii. Diaz. Jones again.
Nice switches.
Nice switch there, but Ishii slips free and finds Ellis for the score.
Third goal for Ellis, in addition to 2 assists.
Utah really not able to slow down that tempo from San Diego. It's very much, you know, hit, 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 hit.
I'm going to say they are slowing them down. They're just not stopping them. I mean, again, those switches are resulting in having them take extra passes, but to San Diego's credit, they're not turning it over.
Right. I mean, they're a very strong team. They can do that all game, and they've proven that. They've been able to do that all game.
Right.
See
And
this nice switch here. Ishii wiggles free, and then we find Ellis for the score for San Diego.
And Ishii's first assist of the game as well. All right, so now for Utah Wild, 7 minutes, 36 seconds left in this fourth quarter of the first of 2 semifinals games here in Memorial Stadium in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, we've got Utah with a little bit more of a typical O-line, I'd say. We've got Caldwell picking up the disc. Defenders are doing a nice job of fronting and then having help deep. Caldwell looking for Songer on the around, but a nice mark makes her lose even more yards. Songer to Perquette. Back to Songer. Stanislawski. And that throw just pushed down a little bit by the wind, and Stanislawski can't make the catch.
And at this point, you can see San Diego really content with sort of just setting up offense rather than playing their throw and go. Now looking for receivers, finding a receiver in the middle of the field.
Ishii up to Zettner. High throw to Pajunas.
Just can't hang on to it.
Perquette to Songer.
So now if I'm Wild, I'm saying move the disc, go downfield. Throw something deep.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to be pretty aggressive if you're Utah. Nice find there. Williams does a nice job of making the catch, looking for that offhand throw and
just can't connect.
Just can't connect, and looks like there is an injury call. Zettner coming off the field, grabbing their calf, but she's walking off field, so hopefully she's okay.
Again, normal substitutions as we would describe in what is a USAU set. Player who's injured can come off, and Wild is allowed to sub an equal number of players. Just, yeah, to your point earlier, just some miscues.
Jones had an eye for Diaz, but instead, finds Willis up to Diaz again, then Pajunas. Willis
striking upfield.
Unfortunately, that throw was just a little bit too far in front of Willis, but so some really nice give-go motion between Pajunas and Willis.
It's not. I don't think it's quite San Diego's offense, and so Utah now with a chance to try and, like, again, close this gap.
Songer playing catch with Caldwell.
And there's the deep look.
There's a big deep look, trying to find Perquette. Pajunas is there, you know, doesn't get credited with that block, but really causes that throw to be not complete. Ishii picking up the disc.
And now a deep look.
Beautiful huck. Has a receiver in Haranik. And a quick dish to Willis for the score. San Diego with another goal. Very impressive.
So just so you know, I've been trying to keep stats, and it looks like pretty much every San Diego Super Boom player has found themselves onto the stat sheet. That's an impressive testament to the usage of these players, and more importantly, the teamwork of these players, and figuring out when to put deep throws, who to look for. Good decision there. And then a better decision just to hold and find the receiver on the open side.
Yeah, something that I've been really, noticing and enjoying is that as commentators here, we're actually saying a lot of the San Diego names, and that means that everyone's getting a chance to touch the disc. Everyone's getting a chance to have an assist, a score, a block, and of course there are a number of superstars on the San Diego team, no doubt about that. But it's also fun to have so many contributions up and down the entire roster.
Yeah, but if I'm Utah Wild, again, you're looking at this game saying, I still got to play another game tomorrow. Our job is to try and work through the kinks, keep your O-line out there, get them to work together, because they're playing somebody, and they're going to be playing tomorrow at 10 a.m., and their opponent will be determined in our second semifinal, which is coming at you at 6 p.m. Pacific time today.
Caldwell with a disc, loopy around backhand to Jen Cogburn. Big backhand looking for Stanislawski, and looks like Stoller was also there. A nice block there. I believe that was Rutland. Another block to her name. Wu picking up to Ellis. Back to Wu.
And again, with 4 minutes and 15 seconds now.
I like the look from Wu, and Salvation was on the same page as her, but unfortunately, I think that Utah really was ready for that throw. Kircher puts up a really nice forehand huck all the way to that far side, and that's Caldwell with a goal.
And just so you know, y'all, this, I'm pretty sure, was Paige Kircher's first assist of the game. And I might be wrong, but that's a testament to San Diego Super Boom's game plan. That was a vintage throw. You're going to see the replay. It's a vintage throw coming from Paige Kircher. It's the same thing you saw in the opening package. Here's the D, or the turnover. And then the block by Utah here to get the disc back. And that's the throw. Just putting the disc out to space, letting the really, really wonderful receivers here on Utah Wild just run the disc down. And now the question will be for Utah Wild is, what do you do in the last 4 minutes here?
Yeah, and credit to San Diego, because I think they've done a really nice job of, when they see Kircher go up line, dropping back and making sure that there's somebody helping last back so that there isn't an open Utah Wild receiver. And they've executed that brilliantly.
Again, Utah Wild still employing the sideline strategy. At this point, I actually do agree with this strategy. With so little time left on the clock, you are trying to get a block early. You start with the disc trapped on the sideline, see if you can get an early turnover.
Iwamoto, big fake, excuse me. I thought she was going to throw it, to be honest.
And that's the turnover. There it is.
Yeah, looking for the reset to Jones. Aragon picks it up, boosts it deep. It's got Molly Robbins in the end zone for a Utah break.
And this is where the Utah Wild's game plan really shines. Pick up the disc, send your receivers deep, put the disc out, tell them to go catch it.
Now, if you're Utah, you know, you just have to keep scoring quickly right now, really. I mean, so I love that Aragon just airs it out. And I part of me wishes that Utah just was a bit more aggressive, you know, 4 minutes ago in this quarter and not now.
Again, another important fact, that's Aragon's first assist of the game as well. So again, 2 throwers who are really the cogs of Utah Wild, really finding the score sheet and the stat sheet near the end of the game, not earlier in this game. Now again, 3 minutes, 20 seconds, anything can happen. I have seen Utah Wild claw back very, very quickly. I suspect we're going to see the same roller pull, and we're going to see whether or not San Diego turns it over early or does what we've expected them to do, which is maintain possession.
Yeah, Atwell with that roller pull hits the photographer, but no harm, no foul. Ellis will be picking it up. Pajunas taking off deep, but Ellis looking for Jones. Nice around.
There's the D.
Great block. That's Carrie Schelke there. Immediately going deep. Carrie Schelke trying to run out the second attempt, but unfortunately just a little too far. Jones picking up the disc. Some confusion here on who's marking who.
High stall count.
Finds Ellis. Back to Jones. Ellis with a nice give-go motion. A little bit confusion from the cutters downfield.
Well, there's some switching happening.
Yeah, Jones to Pajunas. And then I believe that's Juan and Ellis and Diaz. Nice movement here. Very patient from Juan, trying to find the right next pass.
And now we're hitting the 2-minute mark. Last 2 minutes of this fourth quarter here. Championship weekend, first of 2 semifinals.
Diaz with a near fumble, and Pajunas trying to hit Ellie Melik there in the back of the end zone. And something that's, you know, very interesting, I think, is that throw was one of the first we've seen in a while that was impacted by the wind. I feel like that was a really clear throw, like, oh, it's actually a little windy out there.
It might be so. I mean, I don't think Pajunas needed to throw that throw. I understand you have a huge receiver in Ellie Melik back in the end zone. But, again, if I'm San Diego Super Boom and I'm thinking about tomorrow, those are the turns that might come back.
And that's a timeout call from Utah Wild and from that coaching staff. It's really great that we can hear them call those timeouts. They have sort of an electronic whistle. You might even be able to hear it via the audio.
And, yeah, you can see that throw there. Pajunas clearly looking for Ellie Melik in the end zone. Now Utah Wild getting a chance to put their O-line on in these last 2 minutes of this game. Utah Wild down 15 to 20 here in the fourth quarter. This is the first of 2 semifinals here for championship weekend here with the WL. Be sure to stay tuned. Our second semifinal coming at you here 6 p.m. Pacific. The Seattle Tempest home field playing my team, the San Francisco Falcons.
Yeah, it should be a really fun matchup. Now, has Tempest played San Francisco yet this year?
No, fun fact, both of these semifinals are games that were not played during the regular season. These are games, again, of first impression happening between these 2 teams. Again, Seattle Tempest, obviously the home team here. They are hosting this weekend for our championship weekend, taking on the number 2 team out of the Southwest Conference, that is the San Francisco Falcons. Falcons finishing with a 4-4 record with a statement win against the Sidewinders to earn the spot here for championship weekend. And I'm excited. I'm excited to be down on the field.
Yeah, so as a fan, I think it's super interesting, right? Because you're seeing 2 net new matchups. As a coach, though, how do you feel about that? You know, you haven't seen Tempest yet this year. They haven't seen, you know, on the flip side, they haven't seen you, right?
Exactly.
But what's your mentality about that?
The mentality is that you don't know anything, and that's a good thing.
Truly. Good or bad, you don't know anything. Back to the action here. We've got Utah on offense. Slight overthrow. You can really see that wind having an effect here on these throws. That one just a little too high for Stoller to come down with. Ellis picking up. Immediate flick up looking for Diaz. And again, too far. in the middle of your screen, you can see a couple of flags kind of in the background when we have that wide shot. They're really starting to blow. That should give you a sense of just how strong the wind is down there.
Yeah,
there's the
Utah
shot
Wild again. There, O-line on the field.
Aragon secures the pass, but a little bit of contact behind there from Ishii. Disc back in, though, with Aragon. Has to get a bit creative. And Diaz with a beautiful block.
I don't know if Diaz actually touched the disc, but it was enough to get the turnover, and that's what matters.
Jones to Pajunas.
Foul called.
Yeah, Pajunas looking for the around. Probably some contact there from Miller. I'd have to see the replay actually to know for sure as I was looking more downfield.
Either way at this point now.
It's pretty close, but I think it looks like Miller had her hand on Pajunas' arm when the disc was still in Pajunas' hand.
And again, the observer coming over, coming in to try and help the two players. It looks like Pajunas will maintain possession of the disc at this point. This will now be a pre-stall situation. Players will be allowed to move 4 seconds prior to Pajunas being able to move.
And what you're hearing is a timeout whistle by San Diego Super Bloom. Use it or lose it, as they say.
It's true. Use it or lose it. So we have 47 seconds left here on this clock here. Again, championship weekend here in Seattle, Washington. The first of 2 semifinals. The first right now, you are watching San Diego Super Bloom taking on Utah Wild. San Diego with a lead of 5 goals at this point with the last minute of this game.
Let's talk a little bit just about some of the coaches and the coaching staffs of these two teams. We've talked a little bit for San Diego about Angela Wells. She's the head coach of the San Diego Super Bloom. She's the one with that timeout whistle and has used it just so well, I think, this game. And it's been really fun. This is her 2nd year as a coach in the league. And she's done a lot of work with this San Diego team to bring them, back-to-back championship weekends. That's very impressive from this coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, again, 2 for 2. Again, this league is still in its infancy. This is year 2 of the WUL right now. We are giving you championship weekend after starting our first official season last season. But you're correct. San Diego has found themselves in championship weekend for both of these weekends. Again, the same will be true for Seattle Tempest in their next game. In fact, last year's winners are Seattle Tempest. And I can imagine for San Diego, they are itching to play that game. They are itching to take on whoever makes it into that final. They want a title. And they can smell it right now. They're at least 1 game closer to it.
Yeah, and Angela Wells is joined by a number of San Diego Super Bloom coaches. Alicia Stown, Benjamin Ito, Jonathan Helton, Carlos Ruiz, Shar Stunt, and Henry Argensinger. So I just wanted to give those folks a shout out too, as they are critical to this team's success as well.
And it takes a village.
It really does. It takes so much.
Great grab. It's just icing on the cake now.
Wu, I think, almost a high stall count there, had to really throw that up. Jones with a very picturesque layout, 2-handed layout, securing the catch and the score for San Diego.
Second assist of the game for Penny Wu, and for Jones, 2nd goal of the game.
And I want to give a big shout out here to the camera crew that's giving us the opportunity to watch these highlight plays. We're going to get a chance to see it. Big layout from Jones. That's awesome. But yeah, full crew here from UltiWorld. Really appreciate all the work that they've done to produce this game. And a great partner of the Western Ultimate League. Super fun to work with.
Absolutely. These camera folks are sitting out in the sun.
We got Alex.
Helping bring this game to you. We really could not have done without it. Again, a big investment in the WL has been about visibility, and really partnering with UltiWorld has helped us get there.
Yeah, it's so many different camera angles. I think UltiWorld brings not just a quality of production, but also just the knowledge of how to film excellent Ultimate. And I think that is something that they do a really nice job with. So big shout outs.
I would love to see Utah Wild end this game with a score.
I would too. Stambaugh with a disc. Big forehand, trying to find Bigham.
It might be our first stall of the game, actually.
And, oh, yeah, overruled by the observer. It's an instant referral to the observer, and so that turn stands. We've got Cabriales picking up the disc. Up to Abrams, back to Cabriales.
And so there's an interesting strategy at this point. Sometimes, well, the game is done. Sometimes teams like to celebrate, throw the disc up in the air. Sometimes teams say, no, we want to score that last point. But this game has now ended. San Diego Superbloom, the victors over Utah Wild here in the first of 2 semifinals here in Seattle, Washington. We really appreciate you all watching. But let's be clear, we have a second semifinal coming at you.
Yeah, we have a second semifinal happening at 6 o'clock, Seattle Tempest versus San Francisco Falcons. But first of all, big congratulations to San Diego Superbloom. They have punched their ticket to the championship game tomorrow, and they are hungry. They are back in that championship game, and they are fired up.
They are, and they've had so many great plays throughout this game. But let's talk about our play of the game. San Diego Superbloom coming at you here with that layout grab in the end zone. What a great grab, finishing with the flying fish. I don't know what.
Fish out of water, maybe.
So many angles of this great grab. This is probably my favorite one of it. You can just see that layout coming down with it and the all-important turning of the wrist afterwards so you maintain possession.
Yeah, and it's funny, you don't get a chance to see it on the replay, but as soon as Jones threw it, she knew that was going to be a tough one for Abram to catch, and then when her own teammate caught it, a sigh of relief as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's give your receiver a big pat in the back for that one, or else that would have been a turnover. But let's credit San Diego Superbloom. Really a great all-around performance, defensively, offensively. Again, we're talking about just the stats. You know, it's even hard to pick who your player of the game is here. I mean, is it Diaz, who ended up with 3 goals, 3 assists? Is it Pajunas, who had 2 goals, 2 assists, but 3 all-important Ds in this particular game? Is it Rebecca Ellis, 3 goals, 2 assists, 2 Ds? Just holistic, all-around positive, productive play coming out of this roster is the reason we are seeing Superbloom make its way into this championship game that's going to be happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. Again, 2 games coming at you today, 2 games coming at you tomorrow. This is one of 2 semifinals happening here. The next one happening at 6 p.m. Pacific time. 2 games will be happening tomorrow. Utah Wild will be playing for 3rd place at 10 a.m. And then, of course, San Diego Superbloom will be playing at 2 p.m. against the winner of our next semifinal between Seattle Tempest and San Francisco Falcons.
And for now, we're going to talk a little bit about the stats of this game. And I think something that really stands out to me is just the break chances that you see in that bottom line. I mean, Superbloom was smothering. That's probably the word I would use. Their defense was smothering. And it's reflected in these stats around how many chances and how many opportunities they had for breaks. And then right above that, their conversion rate on those break chances, 10 breaks.
Yeah.
To Utah's 4.
Yeah, and
I mean, that's just so impressive.
It's true, but let's be clear. Utah Wild was finding their way back into this game. A lot of those break chances came in that 3rd quarter. That's where we saw it. We saw them clawing back in, but Superbloom, credit them, said nope, no more, and really shut them down in the 4th quarter.
This was a really exciting matchup, and if I'm Utah, you know, yes, the outcome was not what you wanted. It's a 21-15 loss, but I'm still really proud of myself for making it to championship weekend. You know, they were a team that was so close last year, and so fun to finally see them, you know, be here this weekend. Really impressive.
Oh, I know that people are back at home watching. I understand Utah Wild has some of the best watch parties, and I'm not saying that because I think my watch party is going to beat you all, but really glad you're all here. Listen, Utah Wild would not be here without your support.
And in the, you know, as we wrap up this game, we are going to get a chance to hear from Kristen Pajunas, which is one of the captains of the San Diego Superbloom. So we're sending it down to Charlie Eide, who's our sideline reporter.
Hello, I'm down here on the sideline. I'm Charlie Eide with Kristen Pajunas, and
Amanda Rutland and Charlie Rutland.
Oh, what a great name. Wow, Kristen, great playing out there. I'm sure everyone's jealous I get to talk to you now after this game. What was the secret to your success today?
Playing Super Bloom Ultimate. I really feel like we specifically held to our defensive systems. We worked really hard to refine those after a pretty rough end to the regular season, but really dialed it in and owned our person matchups and then generated a lot of blocks to give ourselves break opportunities.
Awesome, thank you. Anything to add?
No, I think she said it beautifully, and we just wanted to play our game, play aggressively, come out and show why we came out here as the top of our division, and we're going to take it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Anyone in particular you're looking forward to see tomorrow?
So it's like we have so many club teammates on the Falcons that we're really excited to match up against. So if it's the Falcons, I'm really excited to match up against Gina Schumacher. I was shocked to not see her name on the O-Pody nominees, so really excited to see her. If the home team, Seattle Tempest, pulls it out, I'm excited for Sam Rodenberg, just an absolute machine. Those two really stand out and are some of my favorite matchups.
Awesome, thank you so much.
No, we're good.
Charlie, was it a fun game to watch?
Fun to watch?
That's all right.
I think the impact that us being visible out here is going to have on her generation is amazing. So I'm just so happy to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much for being out here and putting that on display for all of us. What a great game, and congratulations. Excited to see you in the championships tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, that was awesome. That was perfect. Sorry, I didn't know your name on the fly. I feel bad.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for an awesome game. That was San Diego Superloom versus Utah Wild. Big win for San Diego as they punch their ticket to the championship game tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Again, an exciting first game, but let's be clear, we have a second game coming at you. Seattle Tempest will be taking on San Francisco Falcons at 6 p.m. today. But most importantly right now, we're just looking at some of the highlights of today's first of two semifinal games. Hope you had a great time watching. We really had a great time bringing this game to you. You heard it down on the field. This is about visibility, y'all. This is about a chance for you and the next generation of players to see this incredible amount of Ultimate here on the field, and we are so grateful to be able to be a part of bringing it to you.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, y'all. We really appreciate it. You are why we are doing this. We want to increase visibility. We want to highlight these athletes. And so thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Oh, we didn't get to talk about the player awards.
Hello, Western Ultimate League fans. We are here for our first annual 2023 Western Ultimate League Awards. We are so excited to announce these winners, these incredible players and staff. It's been an incredible season. We want to start off with these players and awards were voted on by fellow Western Ultimate League players, coaches, media, and staff. So we're so excited to have such representation. Let's start off with our first award.
All right, first up is the Coaching Staff of the Year, which for 2023 will be awarded to San Diego Super Bloom. So head coach Angela Wells and assistant coaches Ben Eto, Alicia Stone, Jonathan Helton, Carlos Ruiz, Shar Stute, Henry Argetsinger, and Jeremy Cho.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Great. A big congratulations to the San Diego coaching staff. Our next award is for Defensive Player of the Year. This player led the league in blocks, and she was one of 2 players to record block in all 8 games. This player is Utah Wild player Molly Robbins.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. You're good.
You're good. Yeah, that's it.
All right, next up is Offensive Player of the Year. This player's 3,970 total yards led the league and were over 1,000 more than the next highest total. She also tied the league tied for the league lead with 23 assists. This goes to Paige Kircher.
You're good. Yeah, we don't. A big congrats to all those players. Now we are going to the Breakout Player of the Year. It's very windy down here. This award recognizes the player who came into their season under-recognized and whose impact has made their presence felt. This player, it's in her first WUL League season, recorded 15 goals, 9 blocks, and led her team with 19 receiving yards. She also only started playing in late 2021. This is Arizona Sidewinders player Kaz Gazelle. Kaz is sadly not here this weekend, but we celebrate her and we're so excited to see what she can do next year.
And our last player award is Overall League MVP. This player was the only player in the league to record at least 20 goals and 20 assists, and she finished 3rd in the league in total yards while recording 13 blocks. This goes to San Diego's Kayla Helton.
We have one final award for this 2023 season. This award is the Trailblazer Award. This is for someone who has put their heart and soul into the Western Ultimate League, someone who has devoted so much time and energy to making sure that this sport can continue to grow. This award is given to someone who I personally adore and have spent a lot of time working with, and we are so sad to see her leaving the WL, but it goes to WL President Felicia Yang. Thank you all so much for your support. WUL season. Catch San Francisco playing Seattle Tempest almost right now, and then watch the third place and first place games tomorrow. Thank you all so much for your support, and a huge shout out to these players. This league is amazing.